Now, it is often argued that there are several unique challenges to the medical field that preclude or otherwise make it difficult for a true market process to actually work. One of these is the idea of asymmetric information. After all, how could a potential patient be able to judge a potential doctor and the quality of care that they're going to receive? Well, we face asymmetric information in plenty of other instances. Remember, asymmetric information is when one side of the exchange knows more information that would be relevant to that exchange than the other. And what type of situation could possibly characterize asymmetric information more than going to the doctor? After all, the doctor spent years going through medical school, residency, board certification, and all sorts of other things, whereas most of us simply Googled our symptoms on WebMD. So how could we possibly hope to have as much information as we could possibly want? Well, the answer is that we can't. However, various websites have popped up in the last few years that allow us to rate our experiences with various doctors. WebMD, for example, allows us to rate and rank our doctors according to how well we've done, the quality of care that we receive, and all sorts of other dimensions. And so with a little bit of homework, we can figure out which doctors are good and which doctors are not so good. Doctors understand this as well and want to make sure that they get high ratings, and so they have a very strong incentive to provide high quality care at as low a price to the patient as they possibly can. What about the idea of very little or limited competition during emergencies? Okay, so in this one, what we're talking about is pretend that something bad happened, you get in a car accident, you're injured, you call 911 or someone calls 911 on your behalf, an ambulance shows up and whisks you away to a hospital without you deciding which hospital to go to. In this case, it would seem that we have very limited competition during the case of an emergency. But again, the fact that we can review our doctor's experiences after our treatment gives a very strong incentive for doctors to provide a high quality treatment experience. At the end of the day, the number of emergency visits where the patient has very little ability to choose which doctor they go to is extraordinarily limited. Most of our experiences with medical professionals are things like going to the dentist, which we're able to shop around and ask for recommendations from our community. We also tend to go to family doctors. And again, there we can seek out recommendations before even going. So most of our examples or most of our experiences with the medical professional are during non-emergency settings wherein people can get the ratings, people can shop around, and we can find the highest quality doctor we could at the lowest price. And so these emergency situations, while they could potentially be a problem, face very little of a problem in terms of our overall experiences with the medical field. What about the idea of the lack of returns? So for example, if I buy a banana from the grocery store and it turns out that the inside of it is rotten, I can take that banana back and get my money back. The same is true of clothing, of basically any other product. But with medical care, it's not like I can go back to the doctor's office and say, you know what, put the disease back in me, your treatment just wasn't worth it. I can't get my money back if it's the case that a doctor has performed medical services on me. Doesn't that limit competition or limit our ability to pick a good doctor? Well, again, yes and no. In the moment, it sure does. We can't just return our purchase. Once again, the rating systems online allow us to pick and choose doctors that we expect to be high quality, and if the doctor doesn't live up to it, we simply switch doctors. We go to a different doctor and try that one instead. Most people in most industries benefit far more from repeat business than they do by one-shot cheating and getting a higher payoff for cheating their customers because of the idea of net present value and a stream of income rather than a one-time payment. A doctor who provides shoddy medical services will quickly go out of business, as very few people will go back to them, and very few new customers will come in thanks again to this rating system. So what we've found is that reputations matter. And this is true in all of life. Your reputation is extraordinarily important, and you should safeguard it by promising things that you can deliver and actually delivering on them. What we find in markets is that in instances where repeat business is limited, the reputational effect is far stronger. And we also find that people have developed online tools for assessing things like doctors far more than we have for things like grocery stores. With grocery stores, we each get a sense of the reputation of our grocery store because we're in there frequently. We're in there oftentimes at least once per week. With doctors, however, we might only see them once every 3, 6, or even 12 months. And so our ability to create or establish a reputation with our doctor is far more limited than it is for the grocery store. Because of this, online rating websites, which provide us a means to tell other people what our experience was like, crop up in things like car repair shops. They crop up in things like medical professionals far more frequently than they do for things like grocery stores.